Okay, I'm back. So basically, I inked all my edges on all my papers, and then I went ahead and put my tape on the back of them. So I'm going to grab my um, book here, and I'm going to go ahead and start placing it on here. And I mean, this is, the simple part. Except for when you have a lot of static electricity and these little things want to stick to you. Oh, that's always fun. Okay. So for me, it's just easier to take it apart. Make sure to fold over your hangovers. I see a couple there. Okay. And then center it. Okay. Then I'm going to do same thing, but I'm going to use my solid cardstock for the middle. And I'm going to center it. And then the same thing I'm going to do on here, being mindful again of my words on this one. It's almost so hard to see these. I'm just saying. Okay. And then I'm going to center it again. And sometimes it's easier to stand up. So on this particular one, I'm going to stand up. So I can see a little bit. Oops. Got a little hangover. Okay. And don't forget to burnish in all your edges. I'm just laying them down first, and I'm going to come back in like I'm doing now. Okay. And then I'm going to do this side. And I know that I wanted this one to be my plain cardstock. Goodness, it don't want to come up for me. Okay. And again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to stand up so I can make sure that I have this centered. Okay. Okay. I'm actually going to turn this around because this pattern, it doesn't matter. There's no words. Again, I used this same one right here. Okay. Oops. I knew something didn't feel right. It wasn't sticky. And again, center it. Oops. Okay, and that is it. Now the rest is up to you. This is where you just kind of go crazy with your stickers, or you can do like a little swing tab like I did on this one. Of course, when I did this, and if you're familiar with scrapbooking, you already know that you need to make your hole first. Well, you put your paper on this side, make your hole, and then use your brad, and then you can cover this page up to cover over that little thing there. But other than that, like I use this pot of gold right here. This is where the fun begins. This is my most favorite part of making books. So that is it. I will come back when I get ready to make my binding. So I'll be back then, and then the cover of the book. So I'll be back. Okay, I'm having one of those, I call them a crafty crap day. Okay, but anyway, let me go ahead and do this again. So for the binding of the decorated pages, you are going to do 4 3/4 by, should be 8 3/4. Okay, so I went ahead and I scored this already on this side. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and measure this one more time. So, this is where you're going to do your score lines, okay? So you're going to score at the 1 inch. You're going to score at 1.5. Okay? You're going to score at, and I hate how my pages keep flipping up. I'm sorry. You're going to score it, like I said, 1 inch, 1.5, 1 7/8. Okay. 2 1/4, 2 3/4, 3 1/8. You might want to go over those twice, so I'm just going to go back. I'm going to backtrack a little bit just to make sure. Then you're going to do, is it 3 1/8? So we're going to do 3 1/2. Okay, sorry, let me flip my little page over. The 4 inch, 4 3/8, 4 3/4, 5 1/4, 5 5/8, the 6, 6 1/2, 6 7/8, 7 1/4, and then 7 3/4. Okay, so we know that these are going to be the flaps that I use chipboard underneath my thing. Not everybody does that. I do that. I learned that from another crafter. Okay, then I know that these are going to be my 1/2 inch gussets in between each page. Okay, so I have my 1/2 inch gusset. Then you're going to start with page 1, another 1/2 inch gusset, page 2, another half-inch gusset, page 3, another half-inch gusset, page 4, another half-inch gusset, page 5. Now before I lose my mind today, because I've already done that twice now, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that this fits on my book. I went ahead and I took out the large mats because you do not want your binding to stick to your mats. Okay, so I'm going to go to my little pocket here, and I'm going to make sure that that fits in. Now I see that it does not exactly. Okay, now when I did it at 4 3/8, it was too small. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut off 1/16 of an inch. So, I mean, a really small little amount. Okay. Which on your scoreboard, if you see this little clear section, you're just going to go right up to that line there. And that should be correct. Okay. You're going to fold over. You're going to make sure that it's straight. And it didn't look straight. So now it does. Okay. Let me go ahead and I'm going to change this out real quick because I need my regular paper, not my chipboard cutter for this because I want a nice sharp clean edge. I'm going to slide it down. I'm going to go ahead and take that off again and then put my chipboard cutter back on because I will be cutting a piece of chipboard in just a minute. So there we go. I apologize for the error, but now this should fit properly. Like I said, if you do 4 3/8, it's too small. It's too short, so it just didn't work for me. But this should be, that's perfect. This is perfect. Weird how that is. I don't think I've ever had that happen before, but hey, it is what it is. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and start taping my edges. I got my 1/4 inch tape out, so I'm going to skip my 1 inch, skip my 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to come right up to the edge here. I'm not going to do it on the bump. I'm going to do it right below the bump. And I'm going to do that on all of these. Okay. Well, not all of them. I'm going to skip every 1/2 inch. I apologize. Don't want to say something that I'm not doing. Okay. I'm going to pull this back a little bit for me so that I can see in the light a little bit better. I apologize. I just want to make sure that I do not do it on the bump. Skip my 1/2 inch line. You want to make sure that you get your tape all the way, you know, down here. So it's okay if you have a little bit of overhang. You can just cut that off with your scissors. Okay, skip your 1/2 inch. Apply. This is your last one. Okay, so now you can see, well, I know it's kind of hard to see on black, but you can kind of see where these little ridges are. I did not tape on the ridges. Okay, now I'm going to cut off my excess. I'm sorry, I didn't want to do it on top of my scoreboard this time because last time I did it on top of the scoreboard and then they all stuck to my scoreboard and I had to like pick every one of them off, and you don't want that to happen. And of course all this tape wants to stick to my fingers. Okay, so if you have any tape hanging over, go ahead. Oh, I forgot to burnish these in. Whoops. Okay. You don't want to do that. Okay. I'm going to fold it over on my first one and burnish it in and then fold it back on that line. Okay. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the second one. I'm so full of static electricity today. What is up with that? Okay, I'm going to take it on the line and I'm going to fold it up. And again, I'm going to fold it back on the 1/2 inch line. Okay. Then I'm going to do the same thing on this one. Burnish my edges real good and fold back. Again. I mean, so this is just basically repetitive. I apologize for sounding like a dork, but there may be some people watching that have never done this before. And fold back. And I'm going to go ahead and burnish it. And the same thing. Whoops. Almost went a little crazy there. Did it on the wrong line. That would have stunk. Okay. Burnish my edges. Fold it back. So now I'm going to come along here. And all the ones that I don't have folded over, I'm going to go ahead and rock them back and forth because I want to get the pages ready so it's easier to fold your pages over. So you're just going to do that several times. So now your hinges should move fairly easily. I'm going to go ahead and rock it again that way. There you go. Okay, so now at this point, I know that I want my hinge, not my hinge, I'm sorry, my chipboard, okay? So when I actually tape it down, I know it's going to look something like this. So my chipboard, I want it to be 3 inches by 5. I'm thinking why this doesn't seem right because last time I guess I did it too long. I don't know. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just delirious here. So you're going to do it at 3 inches by 4 5/8. Okay. So now that I've done this like a zillion times today, I swear I got issues today. Don't know what it is. Let me get out one of my smaller pieces of chipboard that I already have cut that I used on a previous project. So at this point, I know that I want it at 3 inches. But I'm going to do, actually, let me do it this way first. I apologize. Let me flip it. I'm going to flip it on the side that the manufacturer cut. Okay. And I know that I'm going to be at the 4 5/8 inch line. Let me get out my trusty ruler that I love so much. So we know that 4 5/8 again is the line just above the 1/2 inch line. And I'm going to go ahead and normally you would measure this, use a pencil, but I don't have a pencil on me right now, so make sure you have this pushed all the way over. And then I'm just going all the way down because I want this to be perfectly straight. And then I can move it back up. And as long as I see those white dots underneath here, then I know I'm in the right department there, the right direction. I'm going to scoot down here, do my little half. Okay, not my half, my little line. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and cut that piece off, okay? I got my old, and I'm actually going to cut it on the side. See that I'm going to lay this side flat and back. This is the one that the manufacturer cut, okay? So I know it's straight, and I don't have to worry about any crooked lines. Anything being crooked here, okay? I'm going to hold this down really super tight. Line, I have a little metal line in between here, which you can't see, but I use what they call the 3-track system for Fiskars so that I know exactly where my line is going to be cut, and then I press down hard, and then there you go. Okay. Then I know that I want it at 3 inches. Okay. Make sure that's all lined up right against here, and then your ruler is right against there. That way you know you have it right. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut it off right down the center. Okay. Then I'm going to put up my extra pieces here in the back. Try to keep my area neat, although it doesn't always work for me. Okay, so now put this up. Then I know this should fit in here really good. It should be snug as a bug in a rug. Okay. Now, even though we did do this one, I cut this at a little 1/16 of an inch. I mean, you can barely even notice it on here. So this is what I'm going to do. Because you don't want your people to see this, I'm going to cover this up. I have a black marker, so I'm going to go ahead and this is kind of a brush marker, so kind of goes easily on here. Flip it over. And then put it up. Okay, so now I'm going to get my 1/2 inch score tape out. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and take my edges. I'm going to make sure I go to the very edge. And then rip it down. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and burnish it in until I have no wrinkly areas left. Then I know it's on there good. I'm going to cut off the excess. I'm going to do that right by my trash can. Okay, I'm going to go over my edges one more time. Right here, right here. And then I'm going to go ahead and start pulling it back. Or peeling them back. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and push back any tape that's hanging over or it will show. Okay, then again, I'm going to lay this flat on my little edges flat, my hinges, excuse me, and flip it over. Make sure it's laying flat. Then I'm going to come along this little edge right here where my 1-inch line is, and I'm going to make sure it's even and press down. Okay. Then I'm going to flip it over and make sure I burnish my edges, and make sure you don't do it, you don't dig in. You just got to lay it flat, because if not, it will rip your paper. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Do it in there. In there. Okay. And I had a little bit of an overhang. I didn't exactly do it straight. That was no bueno. That's okay. I'm going to get my marker. And my little tiny edge here, I'm going to paint that little edge black. And that's it. No big deal. I'm going to flip this over, and again, I'm going to do one here. One on this side. On this side. And this side. And I didn't get enough over here, so I'm actually going to peel this back, and because I didn't get to my edge, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Because I definitely want my edges. I'm going to cut off my excess again. Oops, varnish my edges. So I'm going to get rid of, got a lot of these hanging around here. Okay. What on earth? Sorry. I'm going to go ahead and do that little side again because it was acting freaky. Okay, then I'm going to rock this over. I actually learned that from Ginger on my sister's scrapper. And then I'm going to go ahead and make sure my edges are laying flat. I'm going to take my bone folder. Well, I'm going to do this first. Then I'm going to get my bone folder and burnish it down. Same thing here. Any hanging over, fold it back. And again, same thing here. Anything hanging over, fold it back. And then I'm actually going to cut off that little edge there. And I'm going to fold it back. Okay. And then there you go. So at this point, you're going to go ahead and put, I'm going to use 1/4 inch tape. Although this is a 3/8 inch thing here, I have 1/4 inch on me. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. I'm going to do it on each side of my hinges. And then you'll come back once you're done, burnish your edges in. Okay. Oops. And you'll just continue to do that until you finished it. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and burnish it in. And then I will cut off my edges after I do my burnishing. Over. Okay. Now this is up to you. I like to do this. What I like to do is just clip off a little tiny corner of it. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm doing it off camera because I don't want it to hit my scoreboard. There it is, flying everywhere. Okay, so then it's going to look something like this. Okay. So then I'm going to do one page at a time. Remember, take your mats out. Make sure you know where your position is for your little pocket here. Okay. And then you're going to peel back both the edges on the first one. Okay. Then I'm going to gently take this and slide it in. Okay. I want to make sure that it's even in the center, so I'm not even pressing down yet. And as you can see, I'm leaving a tiny gap. Okay. Just a tiny one. But you want to make sure that tiny little gap is even on both sides, because otherwise your page will be crooked. You do not want that. Then you can burnish your edges. Press down now and burnish your edges on both sides. If you put it too close, sometimes it's hard to turn the page. So that's why you got to make sure. And you want to make sure that every single one of them is lined up like this, okay? Then you're going to make sure that you have all your pages already in chronological order, because you don't want to have to think about it. Once you take your tape off, you want to pretty much immediately tape it down. Okay, so then the same thing. I know I got my little pocket here. I'm going to make sure that it's about the same height as the other one. And then I know since the other one is the right height and they're the right width here, I can now press down a little bit. Then you come in here and press down all the way. Okay. May want to lift your page up. And I think I'm going to do that on the other one real quick. Let me do that. Okay. Then I'm going to do my next one. And pretty much each one of these is exactly the same way. So I'm going to finish doing this and then I'll be back with the next portion of the tutorial.